to Wind Down with Books with your girl Kay. As you can see by the title, we're going to be discussing Sister Souljah book, The Coldest Winter Ever. We're also going to get into the Midnight series as well as Winter Sister Porch book. I'm super excited to discuss this book. As some of you may know, if you don't know, the part 2 to Coldest Winter Ever, Life After Death, is coming out on March 2nd, and I'm so excited to read this book. I hope it lives up to the hype of the first one. Before we get into it, we're winding down with books, so make sure you grab your glass of wine. I'm getting mine right now. And let's get this started. So for everybody who's read The Coldest Winter Ever, you know what kind of character Winter is. My take, in my opinion, on Winter's character is that, for one, Winter's a smart girl. We'll get that out of the way. Winter's a smart girl, but generally she's selfish. She ultimately is a product of her environment. She's spoiled, she's entitled, and she ultimately doesn't care about anyone except her dad for the most part. She loved her mom, but for the most part, her dad was her rock. Like, Ricky Santiago was Winter's rock, and then once he was taken out of the equation, he was in prison, she had to find another way to get what she needed and to continue the lifestyle that she was living. Ultimately, the book is phenomenal. Sister Souljah did her thing. When I first read this book a couple years ago, I was super impressed. I read it about two, possibly 3 times. Just because it was just so good, for an urban book. But I do have my critiques on the book only because if you've read the Midnight series, then you have noticed the discrepancies in the book from The Coldest Winter Ever to the Midnight series, and also in Winter Sister book, Deeper Love Inside, which is Portia's book. So for the most part, Winter, she's grown up in Brooklyn. She's lived in the hood most of her life. Her father, Ricky Santiago, is one of the notorious drug dealers. He takes care of the community. He does what he needs to do for his family. He spoils his family. Miss Santiago, Ricky's wife, she, for the most part, has lived up to the hype of being a kingpin's queen. From small, she's taught Winter how to how to get the money, and that consisted of physical traits, which is your looks. She's continuously stated throughout the book that I am a bad bitch, and this is how a bad bitch carries herself. Well, the third term in regards to bad bitch is physical traits. So what you wear, how you look, your body. So that's all Winter knew growing up from her mom, is how to use what you got to get what you need. Winter only knew that. Womanhood to Winter was your looks. To some women, especially to me, womanhood consists of what you could do for yourself, how determined you are, how driven you are, from regular traits as far as being caring, understanding, standing firm in your beliefs, advocating for yourself. All those things that go into traits for womanhood. That's what most women associate that with. But with Miss Santiago and Winter, womanhood to them is your physical traits. You will not succeed or in this world or get farther or get anything without your look. So you always have to be on point. They never stepped out of their Brooklyn apartment without being on point. Hair always done. Nails always done. Everything from head to toe. And that's what Winter grew up to know. So for the most part, none of us could really fault the character for how she turned out. I generally think that, she is a product of the environment that she grew up in. Her father spoiled her. Her mother spoiled her. She only knew the finer things in life. Let me take a sip of this wine, y'all. That's that good stuff. But yeah, so that's what she knew. Designer. She only wore designer. And, it carried on to the way that she interacted with her friends, interacted with those around her. If you truly read the book and remember the book, then you'll know how Winter treated her friends. Ultimately, you could have said that she treated her friends as less than. Her friends were beneath her. Her friends could never look better than her. Her friends could never do better than her. Their families can never be better than her family, and everybody knew it. From the way the whole family carried themselves, they were untouchable. The entire family, from the aunts to the uncles to the cousins, was invested in the business. So for the most part, it was like, the Santiagos was untouchable. And I could see that, if you have your whole family involved, yeah, you'll be untouchable. You know what would happen to you if you was to do something to one of them. So I can understand that. But for the most part, I feel like, I have my notes here. You can't do a book review without notes. But for the most part, I feel like, how Winter was raised is ultimately a typical Brooklyn female. If you're from Brooklyn, then Brooklyn in the house, If you're from Brooklyn, then if you a Brooklyn chick, that's what it is. Like, she's a go-getter, she's tough, she's gonna do what she wanna do, she's gonna say what she wanna do, and the mouth is gonna be reckless. So for the most part, I understood, but I didn't like Winter's character, because when the going got tough, especially when it came to her mom and the sisters, Winter only cared about herself, and I just couldn't understand why. She made it seem like she cared about her family, but ultimately she was only worried about keeping up with her lifestyle. She knew that she didn't have no money. All the other money was either frozen because of the impending investigation. There was little cash in the house, so there wasn't much that the family could do. They had to scrape along with what they had. They never put into a plan. Ricky never put into a plan what would happen if I was to go to jail. He didn't have no side money laying around for the family, and that's where a lot of drug dealers go wrong. For the most part, if I'm a drug dealer and I'm making millions of dollars, I'm setting my family up, because eventually I know that I am not going to be doing this for too long. I'm either going to, God willing, get out of the game, I'm going to end up in jail, or I'm going to end up dead. A lot of drug dealers don't think ahead of that. They think they're here now. I'm going to buy this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to buy a house. But they never invest the money. They never put any money away. They never have a plan. So that's where the drug dealing goes wrong. Whew, this is some good wine. I hope y'all drinking your wine. So that's what Ricky went wrong. So Winter was like, okay, my dad is gone. My mom has no money. How am I going to get it? She wanted to keep up that look. Once Ricky got taken down, she's like, I have to keep up the persona, because at the end of the day, this is what I was living, and no one is ever going to say that Winter Santiago has fell off. So that's all she truly cared about. She didn't really care about her sisters when the sisters was in the foster care and the juvenile center. She didn't care. She visited Porsche one time. When her mother got hooked into drugs, what did she do? She looked at her mother as disgusting. And I could understand for the most part, like, your mother held herself to a higher standard. She walked like a bad bitch. We're going to say that she walked like a bad bitch. She talked like a bad bitch. For the whole entire life that she went to live, her mother was a queen in her eyes. Beauty was the beholder. So now that her mother is now a drug addict, her face is twisted up because she got shot on behalf of Ricky Santiago. So now she has a twisted face. She has a twisted face. Sorry, y'all. She has no hair. She cut her hair off. She's bald, and now she's a drug addict. Winter's mother became the product of the environment that her father was selling to. She got hooked on the product, essentially. So for Winter, it's like you are not the mother that I know. Who is this lady? So I don't care for you. You can't do for me. So I'm gonna put you by the roadside. So as we saw through the book, Winter's going through this guy. She's going through that guy. She's doing anything to make money. Have you seen the parking lot with the lady? She stalked the lady. It was a rich white lady. There was in a place. The lady's in the parking lot. Winter sees her. Next thing you know, Winter bashes her over the head, takes her purse for the money. As you can see, Winter was gonna do anything necessary in her power to get the money to stay on top. She used her last bit of money that she had to go shopping at Macy's to buy designer. You know, for her, food wasn't even an option. It's like, all right, I have this money, Macy's right there. I'm about to use this money to buy a little designer so nobody can see that I'm going broke. And I give it to Winter. She got it by any means necessary, but it's how she got it, you know? So for the most part, I'm just like reading the book. I'm like, a lot of people resonate with Winter, but I'm like, I really just don't like her character. And for me personally, I don't like the character because I'm not too keen on, you know, interacting with, you know, people who selfish and self-centered and only care about themselves and will do anything to get it no matter who they want it. So I couldn't truly, what's the word I'm looking for, connect with Winter, but I understood her character. I understood you can't really help who you are, even though she's a fictional character, but you can't really, for an individual like that, you can't really help who you are because that's all you know. So when your life circumstances change, you're going to go back to what you already know. You're going to revert back to what you already know by any means necessary. For we saw that she was sleeping with, I forgot what he did. He was like a regular blue-collar dude, got a job, sleeping with him for the little bit of change that he had. And she knew that he had a regular job. She knew that he didn't really make any money. She knew that she could take advantage of him. And she did just that. She milked him for everything she had. He even let her stay with her. He even let Winter stay with him for, what was it, like 2 weeks. Winter left, did her own thing. She was having sex with this other drug dealer, came back when the drug dealer pushed her to the side, hoping that he would still be there. And for the most part, her looks got her everything. And I also didn't like Winter's character because, for the most part, she was riding with a crew who was scared of her because of the family. But my thing is, Winter called these females her sisters, her best friends. But the minute that she could shit on her best friends, she did just that. She was out for herself. Prime example, right? When his best friend was with a drug dealer. I can't remember the drug dealer's name, so if you can, drop a comment in the comment section and let me know. But Winter's best friend was on top. She was dating a high drug dealer. She was looking good. She was draped down designer. You know, the best friend never had anything. She always had Winter seconds. Winter always gave her hand-me-down clothes, you know. So for the minute Winter seen that, okay, my best friend is on top. She's doing her big thing. She was jealous. Jealous and envious because that was not her. That was not her shining. No one was looking at her. She was not the center of attention. The minute Winter got the opportunity to slide in and betray her best friend, she did just that. We seen it when all of them, after the party, they went to the diner. They were sitting in the diner. Winter went to use the bathroom. The drug dealer went to use the bathroom. The drug dealer pulled Winter aside like, oh, I've been looking at you. I want you. I don't give a fuck about your best friend. That's just what it is. Give me your number. The best friend. So Winter's like, okay, I don't care. She knew it was wrong. She knew that was her best friend, but she knew this is the only way that I'm going to be on top again, and my friend not going to stay on top. So I was like, all right, whatever. So she slid the drug dealer number. When the best friend come around the corner, she stuck like, oh, what you doing? What you doing? What you doing? You think Winter had any remorse? No. What she said? Oh, you know, he didn't really want you anywhere. You not rocking that dress. I rock the shit out that dress. And it's just like, you see, like, you call somebody your sister, you call somebody your best friend, but the minute you have the opportunity to, you know, step to the side, let your best friend shine, nah, it ain't gonna work for Winter. Winter want everybody to follow her. And for the most part, a lot of females in this world move like that. Let's be real. A lot of females move like that. They say that that's their best friend, that's their sis, I got you, you got me. But the minute that they achieve something more than you, betrayal. Bitch. How many of y'all, drop a comment in the comments section, how many of y'all have been through that where you have a close female friend, even a close guy friend, and the minute you succeeded in something, they turned on you, they started being jealous, and they violated you? Drop a comment in the comment section. So, I hope y'all sipping. And it's just sad. But I'll tell you why I like the book. I like the book for the most part because it depicts a lot of what these teenage girls go through on a daily basis, with the message being sent that your looks are going to get you everything in life. And for social media, you see this on social media as well. You see social media is looks, the body is going to move you forward than what? Let's say getting a college degree or going to school or getting a regular job. That's not going to make the money that you desire. And we see it now. The book resonates with a lot of females now, so I can understand. But I just, what Sister Souljah did her thing because it allowed us to feel the emotions and truly connect with characters in the book. And I'm like, all right. So the character that I connected most with from the book, I would honestly say would have been Claudette, which is the female that Winter met when she was in the group home. The first Claudette didn't like Winter. I resonate with that character more because she was real. Like, she wanted to work hard for everything that she got. She been through a lot in her life. She saw through Winter envious ways, her jealous ways, her conniving ways. She saw through all that, and she kept it real 100%. That's why I resonate with Winter. Sister Souljah, I understand why Sister Souljah incorporated herself into the book as far as the messages go, and to love yourself, treat yourself with respect. The system is designed against African Americans. That message is completely 100% accurate. But for the most part, I think Sister Souljah could have did more for Winter in the book. But again, this is like Sister Souljah at a younger age, 25. She's now up and coming. She's advocated for the social justice system. She's a public speaker. I think you call her a motivational speaker. So I can understand why. But for the most part, Winter, it was just out of control. The message in the book, you had each character giving a different message and trying to help Winter along the way, but Winter was stuck in her ways. Winter was always going to do what she was going to do, how she was going to do it. There was nothing that could have been done, in my opinion, in the book that could have helped Winter astray. I think for the most part, Winter started truly realizing, who she is in a way when she went to jail. No, even before she went to jail, when she got into the fight. So she got into the fight with her ex-best friend, and the ex-best friend took a bottle and cut her face. So now Winter's face is cut and she has a scar. So that takes away from her beauty. So now Winter doesn't have her definition of beauty. She's not the woman that she was or is. I shouldn't say woman. I should say a little girl at the time, because she wasn't a woman yet. So now she has a scar on her face. She doesn't think she's beautiful. Her self-esteem has decreased. She knows nobody's gonna look the same. She didn't even want anyone to look at her. She's not walking how she walked. She's not talking how she talked. And that was shown when she was describing her time in jail, and how she didn't look at herself in the mirror for a long time because her beauty wasn't there anymore. And she started to realize outside of that, okay, I don't have my beauty. Who am I? Right? And I feel like a lot of women could relate to this, because most of the time it's like, okay, I'm beautiful, I'm using my beauty to get what I need, but outside of my beauty, who am I? They never really took the time to understand and to learn themselves. They just saw it like, I'm beautiful, everybody tells me I'm beautiful, so that's what I'm going to use. I am who I am because I'm beautiful. My physical traits make me who I am. But now when the beauty is taken away and stripped down, you just looking bare. You don't have anything. You don't know who you are. You don't know who you want to be. You don't know where you're going now, because what you used to have is no longer there. And I think Winter started truly realizing that after the fact. So it's sad that it took her going to jail, her getting to the fight to come to that realization. But Winter needed a wake-up call. She needed a wake-up call. Because she was going down, Winter was already going down the wrong path, but I feel like that did her justice. I really want to see where Souljah takes her character and how she starts to what path Winter takes in regards to understanding herself, her self-esteem. Is she gonna change? Is she gonna grow up? Is she gonna realize what she was doing and what she grew up with, and the morals and understanding and the values that was instilled in her? Is she gonna strip that down and truly become a woman? I know at the end we get a little excerpt that says, Winter's gonna get back at the dude that did her wrong and sent her to jail, got her caught up. But I'm truly hoping, the book goes a different direction and we see Winter for who she can be and not who she was. I think it would be a phenomenal book. But with Sister Souljah, you never know. You never know. And it's just like, okay, like, you got to hold your breath, like, to see where Soldier's going to take a book. Also, we're not going to get into the Midnight series in this video because it's going to be a little too long. But what I can say, if you read this book, if you read this book, if you read this one, and if you read this one, if you truly read it, then you understand the discrepancies from Midnight's character from the Coldest Winter Ever to the Midnight series. I love Midnight's character. I love Midnight. I love him. I love what he stood for, what he his belief. I loved it all. But for the most part, Souljah got so lazy. She got so lazy when writing the Midnight series, and you seen it. So, for example, right? Let's give an example. So, Midnight talks about in this book, in the Coldest Winter Ever, if you remember, when he's going back with Souljah, writing letters because he was really into Souljah. He really liked how Souljah carried herself and her beliefs and how beautiful she was. If you remember, when Souljah was like, I can't mess with you because you're a drug dealer and you're a liar and this is not who you are, Midnight finally breaks down who he is. So, in this book, he tells Souljah, I was violated. I sold drugs because I need to make a living. And the reason why I sold drugs because I went to jail, and when I went to jail, there was no job or place of employment that's gonna hire a convicted felon. So if you remember in the book, this one, Midnight went to jail because he was coming down the stairs and he saw that his little sister, and his little sister name in this book is Effie. Remember that. He was coming down the stairs, he saw Effie getting raped by the neighborhood pedophile, Lance. So, at the time, when he seen this, he blanked out, he turned red in the face, he shot and killed Lance in the head. And he was convicted of the murder and sentenced to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was 6 years or something like that, because he was still a juvenile at the time. He was sentenced. And that's why he went to jail. He also stated in this book, when he went to jail, he was beaten and gang raped by 6 dudes and violated his innocence. So, as I'm reading this, I'm like, Midnight, no, like, I understand why Midnight's the way he is, why he carries himself, why he's so quiet, why he wants nothing to do with Winter, because Winter's not his ideal girl. Winter doesn't know how to carry himself. Winter's not a woman. Winter's still a little girl. And she's not nothing compared to the woman that Midnight wants. I understood why Midnight didn't want to be with Winter, right? But here's the discrepancy. So I'm like, oh my God, like, that's so sad. Like, I understand why he carries so, because a lot of men probably went to this, and a lot of men turn to the streets and drug dealing, because obviously there's not, even in today's society, if you're a convicted felon and you're black, coming out of jail, you got 99 more problems on top of the 99 that you already had. You can't find a job. It's very hard. I understood that. I resonated with his character because, it's for personal reasons. I understand why Midnight would have chosen the path that he went to. But let me tell you something. In this book, well, the first one, which is this one, Souljah, when I say Souljah got lazy. The whole storyline of Midnight changed. And I'm going to tell you why. So, in Midnight's book, Midnight went to jail for the same, well, not for the same crime. It wasn't for that. For one, and like I said, in Coldest Winter Ever, his sister name was Effie. In his series, the sister name is Niger. So Souljah was like, F everything, let me go ahead and change the sister name. I'm like, Souljah, hold on. What are you doing, baby? So let me go back. So she changed the name. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So now I'm like, all right, what else is new? So Midnight did interact with Lance, right? Midnight did kill Lance, but this is how it happened. So if you read the series, Midnight already had 2 wives. Midnight was in the Brooklyn apartment, and when he was in the Brooklyn apartment, his second wife, Souljah, I think that's how you say it, she's Japanese, realized that Niger was running outside chasing after the cat, because Niger was supposed to be at the babysitter. So when she looked out the window, Niger's chasing after the cat. So as soon as Souljah tells Midnight books it, he's running down the stairs looking for Niger. Niger's nowhere to be found. The second wife is looking for Niger as well. Because if you read the series, you know that the second wife, she's a trained martial artist. She loves knives. She could fight. That girl could fight. So Souljah ended up finding Niger in the basement of one of the Brooklyn apartments with Lance. Lance is holding her hostage. Lance has the cat in his hand and a knife. So Lance ends up killing the cat. And Souljah sees that Niger's scared, so she throws a knife and it takes out Lance's eye. They book it out of there. They run into Midnight. Souljah tells Midnight, this is what happened. So, if you know Midnight's character, Midnight is furious. So Midnight is super, super smart. He plans the murder of how he's gonna kill Lance. So he kills Lance at a block party. So they're at a block party. It's night. Everybody's bumping outside. All of that. Midnight has a hoodie on. He sees Lance, walks up to Lance, shoots him right, point blank in the head. Right. Midnight casually walks away, and from after he walks away, he puts the gun under the like one of the storm drains, and he walks. This is how he gets caught. And it has nothing to do with the murder. Nothing. He walks into a laundromat, washes the bloody clothes, changes to new clothes. There was a Jamaican girl in there telling him, you're going to need a red bag when you're coming out of this. He's not understanding why. Midnight just so happened to walk into the laundromat that was run by another Jamaican drug dealer that was being watched by DEA, narcotics, the department, who was actually getting ready to be taken down in the state. So it was a coincidence that he walked into it the night that they were supposed to be taken out. So he walks out of the laundromat with the red duffel bag that holds his clothes, and he puts a letter in the mailbox. So the letter that Midnight wrote is basically detailing to his wife, what I want you to do if I get locked up, because he was going to confess to the crime. It just so happened that when he did that, he left the bag by the side of the mailbox. So they're thinking that, he's a drug dealer. He got the drugs. So he left the bag. They take him down. He goes into they lock him up. They try to interrogate him. Midnight never says a word. He went to jail for the simple fact that I think it was like a day or two later, his image was plastered on the front of the newspaper. It looked like any black African American dude, but as he seen the newspaper, the cop put it down on the front of the table. He starts laughing. So I think the cop, put 2 and 2 together and was threatening him. So the reason why he went to jail is for the drugs thing, because he was caught coming out of it. That's why he went to jail. He never went to jail for murdering Lance. So those are one of the discrepancies in the second one, I think, and out of the book. I'm like, the hell, sister? Like, how you just changed the whole storyline? Like, you should have kept it the same. Like, did you forget what you write? So I'm looking like, yo, Souljah really didn't go back and look at what she wrote in the Coldest Winter Ever. Like, you really just gonna sit here and change the storyline like nobody was gonna realize? Like, come on, sis, what is you doing? So then, the third discrepancy. So in the Coldest Winter Ever, she states that Midnight's mother was visiting him in jail, and then another inmate threatened Midnight's mother, if she doesn't bring drugs into the jail, then they're gonna beat up Midnight. So in the book, basically she started bringing drugs into the prison. She ended up getting caught, going to jail. She dies in the hospital from a sickness. That's this book. This book. That never happened. Nothing, never happened. So in this book, Midnight knew that he was going to confess to the murder of Lance. He had on test, so he set out a plan. He told his second wife what to do. Midnight bought them a house. Midnight had two businesses on the side. His second wife had a business on the side. The mother had the clothing business. His first wife, Akimi, had her own business. So they was all set. So she detailed that she didn't want any of them coming. He detailed that he didn't want any of them coming to the jail to visit him. Nobody knew his real name. Nobody had any papers on him. None of that. So he was like, he didn't want them to get caught up and find out where he's living. Midnight is a smart character. Midnight. I wish Midnight was my man, like a real man. I wish that was my man. I wish he was a man. I wish he was a real character. But you know, men these days don't carry themselves like that. Or whatever. So, in this book, Midnight never got gang raped. He never got beat up. He spent most of his sentence in solitary confinement because that's what he loved, being alone. His mother never went to jail. His mother didn't even die. So I'm like, Sister Souljah, what? Like, I was sitting here reading this book like, hold on, am I reading? I'm like, what? Like, how you just gonna do that? So I didn't like the fact that, she just changed Midnight's storyline, like no one was going to notice. Like, I'm just like, yo, you, like, Souljah. A lot of people say that when Souljah writes her book, she gets lazy, and I feel like I agree with that to an extent, but I feel like when she did that, she was just like, all right, this is what it is, but, I wrote this book a few years after the Coldest Winter Ever, so nobody's going to go back and read the Coldest Winter Ever to really understand Midnight's story, to really understand what I wrote back there. So let me just write a new story because nobody's going to go back. Since I went back and read it. I went back. So, I'm like, yo, come on. So then, I'm reading, and I'm like, yo, Sister Souljah can't do that. And then, but for the most part, Midnight was the ideal character for the book. He was a strong arm to Ricky Santiago. He was loyal. He understood what needed to be done. He had morals. He had values. The way he carried himself. He's from Africa. He's Muslim. He's coming from a different country to this one where, he's coming from a tight-knit family where his father's the head. He installed in him how to fight, everything, to come into America where you come into a capitalist country. You come into a country where individuals are all about themselves. There's a lot of most of the time, there's the kinship in the family. It's not close. Family bonding, everybody's out for themselves. People, the family dimension is not together. Everyone is separate. So he had to understand it. He had to learn that. He had to learn that when coming from another country, that black on blacks are fighting each other instead of loving each other, instead of helping each other, instead of coming together and building up the community, instead of they're tearing it down. He had to see drugs transactions. Where he was from, I forgot which country he's from. He didn't have to deal with that. He didn't have to deal with drugs. He didn't have to deal with the uncertainty of walking out your house and someone trying to kill you just for the stuff that you have, robbing in your community. He didn't know any of that. He was rich. In Africa, in their country, he was rich. His family was rich. His father had money. So all he knew was the fine things in life. He knew finer jewelry. He knew that coming to America, you see cats walking around less expensive, stuff like that. So he had to adjust. He had to get out his way of living from when he was small. I think he came when he was 7, and adjust. His mother didn't speak any English, so he was the provider. He went on and did it. I've never, for the most part, never seen a 7-year-old talk the way he talked, walk the way he carry himself, so mature, so well-mannered, so about his business. Midnight was not doing what 7-year-olds do. You playing outside, you waiting for your mommy, daddy to feed you, or your guardian. No. Midnight was a go-getter. He did it for his mother, and I commend that. Where I'm from, I'm Trinidadian. Where I grew up, it was just like that. Nowadays, Trinidad is something different. But for the most part, that's how we grew up. A tight knit. You do for your family. You are a provider. You learn how to provide for yourself. You know how to cook for yourself. You know how to talk for yourself. You know how to do so you could be independent. So that's why I connected with Midnight's character, because I knew what kind of place you come from. Even though a lot of people think that third world countries are less than, we're actually richer. We're richer because we have family. We have a support system. We have love. A lot of the times in the book, you can see money is what makes the society go wrong. That's all anybody in this book cared about was money. Money, 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 money. For Midnight, it was the family dynamic and him being the provider and him taking up his father's place because his father was no longer there. And that's why I connected with the character. And I understood what, where Souljah was going with the Coldest Winter Ever. A lot of people love Winter's character again because, she's a Brooklyn girl. She's high strung. She's high mind. She's spoiled. They see her as a go-getter and by any means to live up to the standards of what she was taught. But I see it as a girl who was never taught true values. She was never taught true morals. She was never taught how to truly carry herself and how to truly survive. Not to say, I'm going to take that back. She was a survivor. She got it by any means necessary, no matter what. She was a survivor. But they taught her how to survive in another aspect, but they never truly taught her to survive in the world, be outside of the drug game. Because she was protected, So now trying to do stuff by herself, she don't know no better. So you can't really fault her. But, for the most part, it's like, what can you do? But I did enjoy reading The Coldest Winter Ever. It was a phenomenal book. I'm super, super excited to see where Souljah takes part 2. The storyline that she's going to do. I'm super excited to see if she's going to bring back the characters, especially Midnight. What's going to happen to Ricky, her father, but I believe her father is just going to be in jail. But for the most part, to see, like, what's up with the what's up. It's just like, Souljah, I hope she delivers. I truly, truly hope she delivers in this book. And it's up to the hype. We've waited years. For this book. So I'm going to be highly disappointed if I'm not rocking with the storyline. If I'm not agreeing with how the direction that Sister takes the book, For the most part, I truly hope that Winter and Sister Souljah reconnects, in the book, because they departed when Winter stole money from the event that Souljah held, and she never, she dipped off. She never came back and spoke to Souljah after. I'm hoping that, Winter reconnects with Souljah's character in the book, and see what direction she take. I would love to know what you guys' opinion on The Coldest Winter Ever is. Like I said, it's a phenomenal book. It has its ups and downs, but for the most part, I enjoyed reading it. Like I said, I read it about 3-4 times. It's such a good book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. For the most part, learn about the Winter's character, learn about the mother's character, and what happened. I don't want to spoil too much in the book if you haven't read it, but for the most part, we are going to revisit this book when I start doing another video on Midnight series, only because obviously the two is hand in hand. We're going to talk more about Winter's mother character when we review the Sisters book. This is my favorite book out of the series. I love this book hands down. I love Portia, the sister. I loved her. But we'll get into more of the mother's character when we read this book. I'm guessing a lot of you can probably connect with Portia's character and the mother as well, and which direction her life went after. But for the most part, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys for listening to my review. Drop a comment down below. Leave me reviews, what I could have done better, what you wish I would have talked about. If you like it, subscribe to the channel. Leave me comments. I'm open to all critiques. Make sure you have your wine. I'm going to finish mine now. And until next time, we're whining and dining. But this is Wine Down with Books with your girl Kay. Thank you for tuning in.